the invention of the calculator helped you get rid of the math problem on paper. Same way AI is getting rid of some of the minute work that you should be able to perform in an automated way. And I think that's where we're going, and that's the pain that we're trying to solve for.
Hello, and welcome back to the RightNOW Podcast. My name is Derek Distin, Vice President of Community here at Rightworks. You know, we've talked about this many times, about how old the accounting profession is. It traces its roots back over 7,000 years. In that time, the profession, the practice, the requirements of an accountant have changed. I discovered an interesting fact while I was prepping for this interview yesterday. In English, the word accounting traces itself back to the 12th century, the Old English verb accounten, which itself was derived from the French word accompter. Please forgive my fake French accent on that. That, in turn, comes from the Latin word computare, which means to reckon. In essence, the basis of this word is the Latin verb putare, which means to prune, to purify, to correct an account, hence to countercalculate, as well as to think. I think it's important that we understand the history of that, because obviously today thinking is such an integral part of accounting. The profession is changing. It is rapidly evolving today, far more quickly than ever. And we here at Rightworks are committed to being alongside you on your firm's or your personal practice's journey. We can't do it alone. And so today joining me is Allen Stahl, the Director of Strategic Technology at Thomson Reuters. Allen, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Derek.
Like that little history lesson there?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit about recent history, and let's talk about TR. In the last 12, 18 months, we've seen a rapid shift in this profession, in this industry. What particularly has changed for you guys there at Thomson Reuters in the last year and a half?
Well, I don't know if you've been keeping up on the news, but over the past 2 years, Thomson Reuters has been on kind of a journey of completing the last mile of tax and the first mile of tax. And what we mean by that is really getting to the point where we feel we can truly automate all of the steps in between, so that one, you as an accountant can get back to the thinking part of your job instead of just the movement of data in between technologies. And so first we started with the SurePrep acquisition roughly about 2.5 years ago now. After that, last November, we added Materia, which is an agentic AI tool. And then just in January of this year, 2025, we added SafeSend to our portfolio, all of which we were already partnering with. Thomson Reuters has what we call an open ecosystem concept. That means we like to plug and play with any tools and technologies that the industry is leveraging. And all of our tools are API enabled to help you kind of create the integrations that you need within your tax workflow. Having already partnered with them, we were able to kind of keep going and create those integrations and connections even deeper.
So where do you sit in all this? Director of Strategic Technology. Allen, when you wake up, what are you thinking about every day?
That's a great question. I've been with Thomson Reuters since 2006 and used pretty much every piece of technology that we have here to help the accounting industry. And I wake up thinking about what's the next thing that I can help fill in a gap for this industry that's right now a very manual or painful process. I have a team of individuals, engineering experts, API experts, and automation specialists. And our main goal is really to work with the accounting industry to hone in on how do we help you fill in those gaps where technology may not be meeting your needs yet, but it could be if we were leveraging it in the appropriate way. So a lot of API builds, a lot of utility connections, and a lot of just consulting with our clients to figure out where is the pain.
Where is the pain right now?
I think the pain is in preparation. As we continue to move into this phase of like, how do we get you to step outside and join us in being able to think critically about how you can help your customers, we have to remove some of the manual, mundane tasks that you're kind of stuck doing just because. And if we can take some of that work out of the equation, meaning all the prep components, and we can get you from gathering those documents all the way to the stage of actually reviewing the documents, we're going to do a much better job of giving you the ability and time back that you need to think critically on how you can advise your customers moving forward.
So you mentioned three words there several different times. You said AI, engineering, and automation. In your mind, do you see these as the linchpins, the keys to unlocking more success for a accounting practitioner because it allows them to think more critically down the road?
Absolutely. You should think of all the products that Thomson Reuters has invested in as kind of foundational elements that are going to help you get to the point where you basically have an assistant at your fingertips, providing you with the automation capabilities in between the movement of data so that we can proactively surface up to you the information that you need to know to be able to move forward with your client in a positive way, showing the client really the true value of what you're there for. You're there to be their trusted advisor. And AI is going to be critical for us in leading us down that path.
So you mentioned proactively surfacing the information that's necessary to serve that client. Now, we're at an interesting point in time, right? We are literally living through the birth of of AI. I would say this AI movement, but genie's out of the bottle. It's never going. AI is here forever now at this point.
Absolutely.
Proactively surfacing the important information. How can we be sure that the information that is being surfaced is I don't want to say the right information, because that brings to mind, hallucinations and these other things that I think we'll solve. But how do I know that the information that's being surfaced is really what my client needs?
So if you think about the profession, you've got an accounting firm doing tax compliance work in possibly all 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough time in a day for that one person who's preparing your tax return to walk through and figure out all the different regulations that change on a daily basis. And so grounding your technologies in the foundational trust of a content provider like Thomson Reuters, who has the staff, the technology, and the teams dedicated to just simply going through and combing through every regulation change, and then providing that back to you in a connected way so that you can start to see maybe not only just the data that's being changed, but also how it's tied back to specific data in your client's tax return. Those are the things that we're working through in our future state and our vision. And it's going really well so far.
And you mentioned earlier as well, talking to clients and understanding their pain points. So when you guys are talking to those clients, when you are reaching out to firms, practitioners, and you're saying, hey, what are your pain points? What are you hearing from them? Like, what in the last 12 months are you hearing are the pain points that perhaps are different than they were 2, 3, 4 years ago?
I think the overarching problem still remains the same. You have more tax returns being produced every single year. And we're going on, I think, the 6th year of steadily declining people entering the profession. At the same time as you have baby boomers and the generation there exiting the profession. And so you've got this kind of issue of being able to do what you need to do to just get the job done. So it limits your capabilities to focus your energy on the advisory work and the extra things that you need to perform for your customers. And you're just stuck doing the day-to-day compliance. So when we talk to people, the pain that they present is, how do I get away from just being stuck doing the tax return and get to the point where I'm able to help my client actually figure out what tax strategies they need to invest in and where they need to go if they're making big decisions. So the way I say it, if you want to get down to like the very minute level, it's, I don't want to be a typewriter anymore when I come out of school. the invention of the calculator helped you get rid of the math problem on paper. Same way AI is getting rid of some of the minute work that you should be able to perform in an automated way. And I think that's where we're going, and that's the pain that we're trying to solve for.
I feel like this profession in particular is primed for an AI assist. You mentioned it yourself, going on 6 number might actually be 7 or 8 years, but we're
Probably
in the same
more.
ballpark. And it's that pipeline shortage, right? It's call it 125,000 practitioners hiring each year, and only 75,000 are coming out of school. I think this industry, this profession, will benefit from agentic AI in ways that are not a threat because of that talent gap right now. Are you seeing similar comments, conversations?
Absolutely. As you know, there's multiple forms of AI. GPT was just a generative LLM, right? And over the past 12 to 18 months, it's been the agents and the agentic AI model that's kind of taking hold. So one is a summarization tool of content or a co-creator of content, and the other one is a task performance tool that's actually going to do something just as an assistant would. And the approach that TR has taken is really, we want to humanize the agent to be that assistant, just as if you had a human assistant in your office that you could ask to do a task that is a little bit more time consuming if you were to do it. For them, it happens in seconds.
Are you going to give your agents names? I mean, we've already got Alexa, we've got Jarvis, we've got Siri. Are you coming up with a cool name?
Oh, I can't say that I know the name. If you haven't heard the brand Co-Counsel yet, I say that's the one you should look at. Co-Counsel is everything branded Thomson Reuters that is AI or generative AI and agentic AI focused. There'll be many different, I'll call it, assistants within that brand. We have yet to name them, though.
I don't know that you need to. It's just we live in a world right now where our kids have grown up knowing these names. I say Jarvis, I say Alexa. They already know exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So let's shift a little bit. We've talked about the last 12 months. We've talked about the past. Let's talk a little bit about the future. What are you most excited about working on right now that maybe you're going to talk about when you come down to Nashville for the Right Now event? Or maybe you're going to be talking about shortly thereafter? Like, what is Allen really excited about right now?
I think I'm excited about a lot of things, but as you know, you've heard the big announcements. We've got 3 acquisitions in 3 years, and that acceleration's not stopping. But what I'm most excited about is the fact that I can take what we've done and these acquisitions, and I can actually showcase to customers real life ways we've implemented serious automation within those tools using AI and automation at their fingertips. So I really like to prove out to them, like, I'm not just talking to talk, and we don't do these things for no reason. So I started what we call the AI Coalition last year. It's 12 of the top 25 accounting firms joined together alongside our labs organization and our product experts to ensure that as we bring things to life through our applications, we're doing it not in a vacuum by ourselves, but with actual industry folks that are performing the work so that when we build something, it's hitting the mark the first time. And so we launched what I'll call a live sync feature through SurePrep, which is really API automation connectivity in real time bidirectionally between tax compliance tool and your preparation tool. So you don't have to bounce between applications anymore. The information you plug into one area feeds to the other, and vice versa feeds back out all of the actual tax-related filled out calculated fields so that you can see that right next to one another in real time, saving time, right? And then all of this builds to what I'm really excited about, which is the TR future state. I'll call the TR future state these concepts that you're going to start to see be accelerated. The 2 that we have right now, and you may have heard of them already, it's review ready and ready to advise. As we move into the future, our vision puts together an experience for not only you as the accounting firm, but your customer engaging with you. This idea that we are going to get you ready to review and ready to advise, rather than having you have to perform the actions that you used to have to perform, transforming the way you operate within that tax workflow today.
So you're saying when you say we're going to get you review ready and ready to advise, essentially you're saying we're going to help you do all the work so that this is what you can focus on, as opposed to you're going to get bogged down in creating all of these number entries, data entries, reviews, etc. We want you to focus on this thing here. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
That is correct. Focus your energy on this rather than the old way, which is a significant amount of your time spent in prep. And the way that you get there is by leveraging, one, our foundational engine products that make up that kind of groundwork that we needed to have, open, API enabled, and AI enabled. And tack on top of that, actually the AI and agentic model and the large language model tied in with our co-counsel or checkpoint regulatory content. And now you've got an entirely different story you can share.
Okay, a little bit out of left field on this one here.
Sure.
Because you've been there a while, you've seen these incoming acquisitions, and you've seen the AI, the automation at the same time. Behind the scenes, how difficult or how game ready were the legacy products to be API enabled, to have some of this engineering done? Was this a huge lift and shift to take these existing products that you guys had in market, had tons of success with, and get them ready? Or did this feel fairly simple and easy? And there's, again, no right or wrong answer. I'm just curious.
I will say that because of our investment in those foundational tools over the past 5, 6, 7 years, we've been on a path. That open story is not a new one for us. That API enablement story is not a new one. We have a build, buy, partner strategy, right? And the partner strategy was always strong. And that's kind of how we come to create these integrations in the first place. So every application in our tax workflow story has already had a strong foundation of being ready to just connect the dots to the point where I believe we have the industry leading tax compliance engines in the marketplace, with the sheer capabilities that they've shown they can do without needing to open the application. I think that's the unique thing. Bring our products to life within your tax workflow process, wherever they live and however you as a firm are performing them. But no, I'll say I'm 100% confident that we already got rid of all the work that needed to be done to make them that prepared for AI. And it was kind of, we didn't know it was coming. Nobody did, right? GPT hit the market by storm. But at that point, it was pretty easy for us to say, okay, let's focus all of our effort on now bringing that to life through our applications. And so I think we've got some time ahead and a little kickstart, not to mention the sheer investment that our leadership's put towards AI. If you haven't been keeping up on that, aside from the acquisitions, we're upwards of $200 million annually in just AI investment to make sure that we're staying ahead of the curve.
I had a chance to interview Andrew Hadfield from SafeSend, and he basically said a lot of the same stuff. He said, our product SafeSend previously had worked so closely with it. This just felt like a natural
Absolutely.
marriage, if you will. In Nashville here, from date of recording today, it's just over a month. We will have you will have an opportunity to speak to a lot of people coming up to the booth. What are you anticipating hearing from them? What sort of questions are you anticipating answers? Or is there anything you really want to make sure that you get a chance to demo or talk about with anybody?
I think it all comes down to what I just mentioned, which is really like, are you ready to transform your practice? And have you created the right foundational tools in your toolbox that are going to help get you there? Because we know you have pain. We know that there's a lot going on, and Thomson Reuters has positioned itself to be uniquely able to solve the majority of that. And are you ready for that advisory work? Because a lot of firms still need some assistance and guidance on making sure that they know how to go after and change from the billable hourly model to more of a value add model and bring that value up to the forefront in the eyes of your customer.
So if I'm a principal or a partner at a firm and I'm standing there and you ask me, are you ready for the next step? What should I be thinking about? Like what indicators, I hesitate to use the term metrics, but KPIs, what should I be thinking about that will answer that question of yes, I'm ready, or no, I'm not quite there yet?
I think if you're going around measurements, like, are the tools that you have today performing for your staff? Staff utilization is a huge metric that, unfortunately, you've got to track that and ensure that it's getting better every year. The tools that we have in our wheelhouse are designed to help with that. The other couple of things that I think are important to look at from a metrics perspective is really centered around engagements completed per employee. And it's not to say everybody's going to be geared the same. Maybe some people are doing more complex work, but make sure that year over year, if you're using the right technologies, you should see huge improvements in that number alone. And if you're not, then it's likely the employees are going to be needing to do the last thing, which is increase your average revenues per customer. If they're not increasing their volume, then they should be looking at average returns per customer, because they should be able to be getting to that extra work now. They have some free time on their hands and advise that customer to go down the next path and do something else with them or invest here, which likely will help open up cross-sell and upsell opportunities in the advisory services space for you.
Okay, Allen, gaze into your crystal ball. The next 24 months, next 2 years, what changes do you see coming for this profession?
I think you're going to start to see the rise of what we've deemed the people developer. All right. It started to happen prior to the advent of generative AI with just ETL-based tools and automation. But still, you needed to have some development wherewithal in your wheelhouse to be able to code and create and ideate. Over the next 2 years, I really see every person in the accounting firm being the person that can find the insights, create the idea, and actually make that come to life for others to benefit from on a lot of the things that probably don't bubble up to the top level surface as being number one priority in your firm or number two that you might have an IT professional help you with. These are the things that, I just need to solve X real quick or this real fast. Those things are extremely possible with the agentic AI model today. And you don't have to be a developer at all in order to be able to create things that actually are historically needing code to be designed. So I see that as being a huge area of opportunity for the profession.
You're saying somebody at the firm, whether they're a 15-year practicing accountant or they're a recently hired firm administrator, with these agentic tools can begin to ask questions of it to say, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, or Z, and it's probably something that nobody has built the calculator or the formulas on the spreadsheet for. And the tools, the agents themselves will be able to help us solve that and then create the process around that.
I believe if you're looking that far ahead, absolutely.
Ever been to Nashville before?
I have. I've been there a few times. Yeah. Love it.
If I have been, but if I were someone who's never been to Nashville, what would you tell me to be ready for?
I would say be ready for what Broadway is. I think it's transformed since I first went to Nashville, maybe about 8 years ago, to going there last year. But when my wife and I go, we actually love going off Broadway, just finding a little side street. If you're not into the big hustle and bustle of being crowded in a party-like atmosphere, you can find your acoustic version of that at a side bar in a nice quiet location and just enjoy yourselves.
True story. I was in Nashville about oh goodness, probably about a dozen years ago, and went into one of those off Broadway. It's probably one block over, so still fairly busy bar. Went in there, and there was a cover band performing music, and at one point they started playing Boot, Scoot, and Boogie, right? The old Brooks and Dunn hit, and I'm like, oh, that cover sounds great. And they're really nailing it. That sounds a lot like Brooks and Dunn. And I turn around, and sure enough, it's Kix Brooks on stage singing with them. He happened to be coming through, heard him playing, got up on stage and was singing with them.
That is awesome. And you never know what you're going to experience. And I think that's the uniqueness of it.
So this question's near and dear to my heart. I collect socks from every conference that I attend. I like to go around and find the socks the companies are, having their booth as swag. Can I trust, is TR going to be bringing socks down for the booth this year?
I don't know that we're going to have socks at the booth this year, but what most people love about what we bring is our liquid IV hydration packs. I mean, especially in a place like Nashville, you've got to keep your energy up from the night before. So stop by our booth, and I'm assuring you there will be some hydration there for you to keep your energy high during all of your conference classes.
Last two questions, and I like to ask these for everybody. So I want you to imagine, Alan, that we have a time machine here in front of us, and it is able to perform time travel without having to worry about science fiction problems, right? Let's take all the paradoxes out. We are going to step into this time machine, and we're going to travel back in time 10 years, and you're going to step out and you're going to be face to face with yourself 10 years younger. Now, the thing about this time machine is you've only got 60 seconds before you're going to be whisked back into it. So in that 60 seconds, what one piece of advice would you today like to give yourself 10 years ago?
Yeah, I believe in this. So I would tell myself to invest deeply in what truly ignites your soul, personally and professionally. And if you kind of think about that in those two lenses, you'll find what you're looking for. For me, my two things are family. I'm a fanatic for my family. I've got 3 girls. They're all soccer stars at this point, 11-year-old, 6-year-old, or 11-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. And I'm just a fan beyond belief at watching them have fun and enjoy themselves. And I think they get a kick out of that. Maybe not the oldest so much anymore. She probably thinks dad's a little out there. But and then you go back and do the same thing in your professional life. Find out what passion is going to invigorate you to move to the next step. For me, like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. And if I didn't find passion in it and believe that I have the ability where I'm at right now to transform this industry, it would be really hard to continue to keep going. But I think so much of an impact that I can make that I'm going to keep pushing and making sure I'm meeting the client's needs head on.
So now we go back into the time machine and we turn around, and it takes us 10 years into the future from today. So you are now open up the doors face to face with yourself 10 years from now. Same question. You've got about 60 seconds. What question or piece of advice are you going to ask of yourself 10 years from now?
Did we do it? Right? Have we fully transformed the accounting industry? And right down to reshaping the entire tax workflow story. Just as you mentioned at the beginning of this call, right? It's been thousands of years in the making. Have we evolved to the next phase of what accounting should be?
Well, I think you guys are on a good journey for that. I'm excited for not only what many of us believe the future of this profession could be, but specifically, I'm excited to get a chance to hang out with you, Alan, down in Nashville. And I encourage anybody who swings by, please stop by the booth, talk with these guys, find out a little bit more about co-counsel, about review ready and ready to advise. I think you guys have a fantastic opportunity in front of you, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for listening today. Continue to be a good human, continue to practice, continue to evolve, and find what truly ignites your soul. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that says the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. I'll use that as my reminder. Please join us in Nashville, May 19th through the 21st for Right Now 2025. If you have not registered yet, please register at rightworks.com/rightnow2025 and use the offer code POD300 for podcasts. Again, POD300 for $300 off your registration. Allen, thanks so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Derek.
I look forward to seeing you in Nashville very soon.
Same here.
All right.